Hey everyone, I'm Erin Saxton. Welcome to another edition of That Girl from Jersey. And you are in store for a treat today. I have my friend Cornell Thomas here, and he is a motivational speaker, an author, a coach, a amazing guy. He's a husband, a father, and just my friend. And he travels the world helping other people. And his book is called Extraordinary, the distance between good and great. This guy is like the ultimate positive thinker. So I need a little dose of positivity around. Welcome.
Erin, what's up? How are you
What's
doing?
up, Cornell?
I'm doing good.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Doing phenomenal. Thanks for having me.
So we were here doing a little brainstorm meeting on August the 6th, right? And I'm pulling something up from my phone because I need to confess something to you.
I love it.
So you left me with a book.
Yeah.
And inside the book was an amazing inscription. And I went to the store and I came home to find this on the floor.
Please stop.
Sully.
Please stop.
Sully, who's underneath this table
Who's
right
here?
now.
Who's right next to my foot?
Who's underneath the table. He ate my homework. We'll pull this up on a bigger screen. Sully thought your book was so delicious.
Yeah. Well, that's how we advertise it.
So I'm wondering if there's a pen off camera.
Sure.
That we could. Can I have a pen? Our lovely Ella. Our lovely magic assistant Ella. Because thank you, love. Would you please re-endorse the book?
Yeah, it's gonna say.
Now
don't put this to your dog's mouth.
No, I will. Let's do what it said before.
Okay.
Dear Erin, here you could just put it like this.
I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna put it in the back. It means
Okay.
more. Dear Erin.
Quote from the last book. You're prettier than the nighttime dew on the mountains.
Oh my goodness.
I think that's what you said.
That's exactly what I said.
Your grace knows no limits.
Sounds
And
just
your
like
tenacity knows no boundaries. I think something about you say, I'm madly in love with you because of your grace and charm. And I'm just so fortunate that you allow me to be your friend.
And I said something like, "Can we get rid of Rudy?" Like I think at the end
That might have been a PS.
Yeah, I was like, "P.S. Dump Rudy."
Yeah. PS
Yeah.
dump Rudy. That's my boyfriend.
It was P.S. Dump Rudy. Get with this booty. That's what I think I said.
Yeah, I think you rhymed
I think I rhymed.
It did rhyme.
Yeah.
So it must have been true if it rhymed.
Okay, cool.
So that's that.
Yeah, I love it.
So thank you for giving me the exact endorsement it was before.
Well, thank you so much for not allowing your dog to eat this one. This means a lot. I mean, no big deal.
Here, Sully. I actually say, all kidding aside, I was really disappointed.
Good, because I really put everything in behind that inscription.
As the world now can tell, including your wife.
Yeah.
Because she now knows.
Well, now she knows.
She now knows your love for me.
Yeah, I said we were just friends.
Right, but you air quoted it. Now you realize that the air quotes can come down.
But I air quoted when she turned around. She's like, "Who's Erin?" I was like, "Oh, she's a friend." And then she turned around and I said,
right.
So now she knows. Thank you.
I notice if you air quoted it, it's it's a mulligan. It's a don't count.
Yeah, it doesn't count.
Right?
Yeah.
Have you had a lot of them in your life?
No, I don't have a lot of people that I air quote and say wink, wink to. No.
But how do you how without that are you a good motivational speaker? See, to me, I think you swim in the sea of tragedy and then you rise above.
Well, that's some Martin Luther King stuff. Yeah. See, for me, I think people just have the definition of positivity a little misconstrued. So they think positivity is like being happy all the time.
Oh, okay.
I don't look at positivity like that.
How do you look at it?
I look at positivity as not the absence of human emotion. You're allowed to be negative. You're allowed to mourn. You're allowed to be angry. You just can't live in it. Like, you can't make your bed in it if you want to enjoy your life. So I don't even call myself really a motivational speaker. It's just the term people know. I say I'm more of a professional conversationalist.
Oh.
So when I get in front of people, we have a conversation.
I stand corrected then.
Yeah. So motivation is intrinsic in my mind. So I can't really motivate you. If you don't want to do it, you're not going to do it. I can inspire you to change your thought pattern and possibly do something that you wouldn't typically do. So that's what it is to me. You hear like motivational speakers, it's a pretty hit word now. Everybody's doing it. There's a million motivational speakers.
Right.
And they're trying to tell you how to live your life, and they don't know you. So if I go to a crowd and there's 5,000 people, I don't know everybody. So all I can do is say something impactful that may inspire you to action. I don't know you. I don't know what you do. I don't know who. I don't know what you've been through. So I think when people think of motivational speaker, they think of the old Chris Farley skit when he's down by the river, right? And
down by the river.
Yeah. That's not what I do. When I speak, it's just like having a conversation with just a bunch of people.
And how'd you get started in all this?
It's funny. I got started in all this because of social media.
Really?
Yeah, I was on. So my background is basketball. You know, my whole entire thing from 16 years old until 24 was I was going to be a professional basketball player. And then I ruptured my Achilles tendon. And so when I ruptured my Achilles tendon, as life does, it threw me this curveball, and I switched it up and I had to do something different. So I started coaching basketball. I started training kids. And in that coaching and training kids, I realized that my purpose really was to help people. I just didn't know what avenue I was going to do. I thought it was through basketball. So one day I'm on Facebook, and I'm reading Facebook in the morning, and it's just the most negative nonsense that I've ever saw in my life, as it usually is. So I said to myself, I said, this is people's morning coffee. They wake up to this BS.
Daily dose of grim.
Yeah, daily dose of like tragedy. So a friend of mine got me this book of positive quotes, ironically. So I would take a quote out and put it on Facebook. And even the people that were all about drama were liking it. So I was like, okay, cool, I got something. And then one day I woke up and I couldn't find the book. So I wrote my own quote, and people still liked it. So I was like, well, screw the book. I'm going to write my own quote every day. So I started doing that. After a couple of months went by, a friend of mine said, where do you get your quotes from? I was like, I make them up. He's like, dude, you should write a blog. I said, that's a great idea. What the hell is a blog? So I'd never heard of one in my life. And so he set up this blog. We're at Panera Bread in Rockaway, New Jersey. He set up this blog, this WordPress site. I wrote my first blog. So every Saturday I write a blog. And then the blogs, I was like, okay, well, I'll write a book. So I asked Google, and she was like, this is how you write a book, because Google's definitely a woman. Guys aren't that smart.
You asked Google how to write a book.
I was like, how do you write a book? And
Not even Siri.
No.
You're like, hey, Google.
Siri wasn't hitting back then.
Siri was just an unknown entity.
This is 8 years ago, 9 years ago. So Siri wasn't even like, Siri, Alexa, they were like little babies. They were in the womb. So I just asked the mom. I said, Google, what's up? So she showed me how to write a book, and I wrote my first book, The Power of Positivity, Controlling Where the Ball Bounces. And my first book was all about the people in my life that helped shape who I am today. So there's a letter. My father passed away when I was 4 years old. He was a police officer, City of Passaic, New Jersey. Did all this community service work. Just did amazing things for humanity. But I didn't know my father. I was only 4.
Right.
So I wrote a letter to him that I've always wanted to write since I was a teenager. And it was the first time that emotionally I was able to kind of open up, because I always held things inside, because my mom raised 5 of us by herself with no money.
Wow.
So I didn't want to be a burden on my mom. So I just kind of held myself inward emotionally and didn't let it out. So when I wrote this letter, I'm writing on my computer, and just tears start coming out.
Wow.
So it kind of opened up the floodgates to me. So that's how I realized, like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
And what is your goal?
My goal is to impact as many people as possible. We don't have a lot of time here. And I think we come under this like false pretense that we do. Like we think like, oh my goodness, I'll be here for 300. No, you won't. And history will tell you, if everything goes well, you have 100 years left. So if you take a big jar, not to be morbid, but if you put 100 marbles in there and subtract your age, that's how many years you have left, if everything goes well. So when people say, like, how do you get up in the morning? How do you so much energy? I just say, I'm not done. I haven't been to every country to speak. I haven't talked to every person on the planet. I haven't been to Africa yet. I haven't been to Australia. I haven't been to all these different places. So that's my motivation when I get up, is to leave something behind for my kids, their kids, their kids, their kids. So just like my father left something behind for me. They named the street after my father 7 years ago. He's been gone for 40 years. And they're still having an award in his honor. So when I leave here, I want my footprint to be here hundreds of years after I'm gone.
And what was your inspiration for, now that the book's intact, but what's your inspiration for writing this book, Extraordinary?
Just mindset. Life is mindset. We make it so complicated. People have been doing life before cell phones. People have been doing life before computers. People have been doing life since the beginning of time, right? And we always end up figuring it out if we allow ourselves to. But it's your mindset. It's what you bring to the table. So the book is all about the mindset you need to overcome adversity, because that's what makes extraordinary people extraordinary. There's no one on this earth that's doing phenomenal things that said, oh, well, my story is I got out the womb, had a gold spoon, everything was great, no adversity, no tragedy in my life, everything's perfect. No, 99.9% of the people that are doing great things on this planet have gone through the mud.
Right.
And that disadvantage, and I put that in quotes because it's really not a disadvantage if you think about it, that disadvantage has helped shape them to who they are right now. Anybody.
When you're going through mud, when you're in like the downtrodden, slum, yucky, slimy part of life, what advice do you have for people? Because they can't see good and great. They just go, help, I'm I'm in mud.
Yeah.
So what's the message to them? What do you want them to know?
Yeah. I do kind of like a checklist. So when adversity hits me, the first thing I ask is this life or death? Literally the first thing. Can you survive this? Because most times it's yes. No matter how hard it is, I can survive it. The second thing is, all right, what are the steps immediately you have to do to start reversing the situation? So just think about it. Say you lose your job, right? You ask yourself, is this life or death? No, it's not life or death. This sucks. Like, I don't want to be on the street, but it's not life or death. Okay, so what action steps do I need to take right now? They could be going to my network, my resources, calling people, hitting the internet and just looking for jobs. It could be that. And then the third thing is, have you been through something before? Like I always say, like, Cornell, what have you been through? You've been through no food. You've been through ruptured Achilles a week before you're supposed to do your dream of playing professional basketball. You've been through the mud already. Once you've been through the mud, you know what it feels like. It's just a different type of adversity. So those are my 3 checklists. Okay, like, is it life or death? What are the steps? Have you been through it before? And 100% of the time, I'm talking about some crazy things that have happened in my life. 100% of the time, it's yes, yes, yes.
Interesting.
And then I go. That's like, if adversity hits you and you stay on your couch, you're going to stay on your couch. Like, you're not going to get up. Like, when adversity hits you, the worst thing you can do is be still. That's the worst thing. You have to get up and do something about it.
Right.
If you sit there in your thoughts, like, you got to look at our minds as a haunted house, right?
A haunted house.
A haunted house.
Okay.
If we turn the lights off right now, and we and you watch a scary movie the night before when Rudy was away, cuddled up on the couch by ourselves with popcorn, right? Turn the lights off. We'd be like, did you hear that noise? What was that? What?
I hear that noise right now.
Exactly. But if we turn the lights on, then it's not scary anymore. That's the same thing with our minds. When we're by ourselves with our minds are so complex, it can convince us of anything. Kurt Vonnegut said, you are whatever you pretend to be. We make pretend that we're not good enough. We make pretend that we're not pretty enough. We make pretend we're not smart enough. And then we convince ourselves that's truth. So you have to rewire this programming in your mind and realize there are really no limits. It's just the limits you put on yourself.
So what's the difference between good and great? How big of a gap is that?
Yeah, it's just work ethic. Like, for me, the distance between good and great is your work ethic and your belief and faith in yourself, God, whatever you believe in, right? Whatever your belief system is. Because there's some really good people on this planet.
Yeah.
But there are only a couple great ones. Right?
Interesting.
You like, if you think about the percentage, the populace as a whole, what, maybe 0.5% are great? Like, if I said, well, name me a bunch of great speakers, you name me 2 or 3. Name me a bunch of great producers. You name me like some.
But is that judgment? And I'm not questioning, but is it subjective?
Oh, it can be anything. What you think is great. Like,
right.
Some people think great is money. I think great is, are you fulfilling your purpose? Do you know what your purpose is? Why are you on this earth? To me, great and extraordinary isn't like how many dollars you have.
Of course
there are
not.
people that are poor that will run into a burning building to save a kid.
So there's poor people can be great.
100%.
Right. And there's wealthy people that could be not.
There are a bunch of wealthy people taking their lives, right? There's billionaires that blow their heads off.
Right.
That tells you, like, the monetary stuff is only temporary. It's the jacuzzi effect. You know, you get that money for a little bit, then you can still be sad inside. Yeah. And then as humans, we're like, I can't believe so-and-so took their life. They have millions of dollars. It's not about millions of dollars.
What's the jacuzzi effect?
Jacuzzi effect is you go into the jacuzzi, you're like, oh, this is great. And then as soon as you get out, you're like, damn, it's cold again. Right?
It's
like,
true.
You're like, oh, now I'm cold. It's the same thing. You go to events, right? It's the jacuzzi effect. You go there, it's all this rah-rah pump up. They're playing music. There's smoke. You know, there's a unicorn that comes on stage. You're like, damn.
But then
this
you
event's
leave.
great. Then you leave.
And
you're
it's
like,
cold.
oh, wait a second. I fought with my husband the day before. Wait, I have bills to pay. Oh, my kid's getting kicked out of school. So now all that stuff comes to you, and you're no longer in this insulated bubble of positivity.
But you have all their DVDs.
Yes. And guess where they are? In your basement.
Yes.
With dust on them.
Yeah.
All those notes that I've taken from events, I don't even look at them. Not because the notes aren't good. It's because life happens.
Yeah.
We have things to do.
The notes are great.
Yeah.
The content's great.
Sure.
But the implementation of it, if that person could be with you every step of the way,
yeah.
well, that they would be stalkers, but you know, and annoying.
Yeah.
But you know, that's the problem. There's nuggets where we can take home and utilize and implement.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's I find it daunting to think that one could go, and I've done all them. Heck, I repped most of them.
Sure.
Right. And so I like them all.
Yeah.
And I think that I've pulled like really amazing nuggets, like pieces of a flower, like petals of like a bouquet, if you will. And so together collectively, I've got this really awesome bouquet, a great bouquet, if I dare to keep it real between us.
Yeah.
But, in those moments, it's difficult to say like, oh, I got this all from this one person, or all from this, or all this from my mom, or all this from my dad. Technically, you can say that for bad as well. But, what if somebody's just fine being good?
Yeah. Then be good.
But not great.
So what?
At least they're good.
This is the thing. Is like when you go to these jacuzzi type events, they almost make you feel guilty for not trying to be extraordinary.
Right.
There are some people that are on this planet that are meant to work for other people. There are some people that are on this planet that are meant to lead companies. There are some people that are on this planet meant to go the other way where everybody else is going. And that is perfectly okay. That is fine. That is your life. What you do does not affect my life. If you want to be good, then go be good. If you want to be okay, then go be okay. That's just not what I'm going to do.
Right.
So if I want to do that, don't knock me just like I won't knock you. You do your journey, I'll do my journey. Right? And that's that.
So what do you say about, like I call them Eeyores?
Yeah.
Right? We talked about this, right?
Yeah.
I think so. So everyone, Eeyore to me, and he's a beloved character in Winnie the Pooh. But if you really look at the script he has to read, I mean, he should call his agent because he's very downtrodden. Like, must be nice. Of course you have that new ring.
Yeah.
I wish I had a new ring. Or, their husband. I love the Eeyores that they're not even earning it for themselves, but they're jealous because they married better. I don't even mean men or women. I just mean any of them.
Sure.
Like, or their family, they were born into a better family. No one's talking about the matriarch or patriarch of that family that so-and-so's been brought into. Sure. Like my grandfather, truck driver, high school, like worked his way up to CEO. I think some people look at my grandfather and go, must be nice. Yeah. What must be nice?
Yeah.
What's nice about it?
Yeah.
He worked his ass off.
Yeah.
After school. Like he wasn't out playing baseball. He was a truck driver. Then he was a mailroom clerk, literally proverbial climbing your ladder, and then he retired when he was 93. And there were people there. Must be nice.
Sure.
Really?
Yeah.
What is nice about that?
Yeah.
It's nice that it's a great story, but you're not doing it. So what's up with the Eeyores?
I have so much.
They annoy me.
Yeah, of course they do.
I'm very passionate about the Eeyores.
Yeah. But what you have to understand is when you allow them to annoy you, they're winning.
I know,
right?
But I just don't tell them. I guess now they are.
Good, don't tell them. Yeah, now they all know. But millions of Eeyores. This is what I would say about the Eeyores. The biggest problem with Eeyores is we give them an audience. I was Winnie the Pooh in the beginning. I talked to every Eeyore. Hey, man, it's all right, man. You got this. Then I realized something. You can't save everyone. And while you were trying to convince Eeyore not to be miserable, there are people that are on the fence that could be Eeyore or not be Eeyore. Could be Tigger, right?
Yeah.
And you're walking right past them trying to convince one person. Once I have given you information and I continue to give you information, at some point you got to do it on your own. Now, the Eeyores only see the destination. They don't see the process. They don't see your grandfather's process. They just see where he landed. When I first started playing basketball, I was like a baby deer. I was so uncoordinated and terrible, like god awful, for 4 or 5 years. When I got my scholarship to play college basketball and when I got my contract to play professional basketball, people that were around me understood, but the people that just knew me very kind of lightly, like, oh, I remember him in high school, he sucked. Well, what did you do? You weren't there during the process.
Right.
But the one thing I won't do is I won't explain or justify the process to you because you don't get it. Because I can sit down and talk to you about it. I can give you a thesis on it. You still won't understand it.
Right.
Because that's what Eeyores do. They love that company. They love being miserable. They love bringing you down. The Facebook, social media, it's all a bunch of Eeyores, a lot of them.
Right.
They don't want to see, like, you can't talk to me about Erin Saxton in a bad way because we're friends. So Eeyores don't come up to me and they would never talk to me about you. They never talk to me about Jennifer DePaul bad way because they know that I immediately check them.
That's another friend you'll meet in a future episode.
Yeah, but you give them an audience.
Right.
If I don't give you an audience, what are you going to do? You're going to walk away and go to the next person. Period.
Yeah.
So I just don't give them an audience. There's some people that they don't want to change, Erin. They want to be where they are.
They like being miserable.
Yeah, let them be miserable.
But do they see? I let them know they bother me. In my own little way of, I'm very open about talking about Eeyores,
Sure.
right? Because I wish for them to have a shift. So they're not so miserable and they can get out of their own way. But I'm beginning to think that they're just happy being miserable.
Yeah,
or jealous or envious and I'm not even sure they realize they're Eeyores.
Yeah, it's all of it. And they're kind of unconscious. They don't understand.
Exactly.
There's a coach, legendary coach, passed away a long time ago. His name is Don Meyer. And I got a lot of my coaching stuff from him. And he said, don't wrestle with pigs because they like to get dirty.
Huh.
They love the mud. So why are you going to wrestle with the Eeyore when this is what they do every day? That's not what you do every day. So you're going down to their level, wrestling with them, and they love getting dirty. So now, if I'm looking from a distance, I just see two pigs in the mud. I don't see one person that decided to be a pig one day and jump into the mud with this Eeyore. So that's why, and it goes all back to the time thing. I don't have the time to sit there and battle with you. I don't, man.
Right.
Like back in the days, I'd entertain it all day long. I'm like, well, this is. I don't have the time. Like time is going like this. We can't measure time. Time is already going. It doesn't stop. Whether you have this argument or not, it's not stopping. It's going to keep going. So I just don't have the time for it. So I just kind of continue to move past it.
And I feel like it's all about choices. Like my son Eric is 14 and a half, and I'm trying to, without being too over motherly, but I feel like even when I was going through once I got to high school, I noticed these choices, like forks in the road. And it wasn't good versus evil, but I was really conscious of the choice. And so to me, how important are choices to me, choices are so important. Not because there's ever a wrong choice. I mean, obviously there is, but like how going from good to great, or just being from okay to good, or just being from I'm happy with who I am and I positively contribute to society. What can you say to people who are just not thinking about their choices on a daily basis?
Well, a lot of it's habitual, right? It's like how you wake up, what your routine is. That's just a habit now. It's no longer a choice. So we don't really have a lot of choices that we think we do, but a lot of it's habit. If you ask somebody, well, what's your routine? Well, I get up, I do this, I have my coffee, I go blah, 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 and I drive the same way to work. How long have you been doing that for? 30 years. So what choices do you have to make during that routine? Zero. Right? You're on autopilot. A choice is when like you said, when you go to the fork in the road, you're like, okay, I can go left and right. When you have to make an actual choice, it's something that you remember. You can go back to it years and say, this was when this happened. This is when I first met my husband. This is when me and my husband left each other. This is when I got my job. This is when I got my break. It's a choice that I made. Because a lot of things were on autopilot. So I would say your choices are extremely important, but you have to understand some of those bad choices lead you to where you need to be.
Interesting.
That's very important to understand. That's not saying go out and make bad choices every day, but it's just saying like some of those bad choices circle you right back to where you need to be. Because
it's predestined, in your opinion?
I think it's already taken place. This has already happened. All the stuff that we're thinking about, we hate to admit it because we can't see it, we can't feel it. We're humans and we can make all the we make all these choices. Man, there's a plan for all of us. There really is.
Well, because I've talked to other people here on this show even, and they don't believe in fate per se. They believe in like a pre-plan, or they believe in God already knows if you're going to like jiggy to the left, jiggy to the right, or whatever. But, so are you saying you believe in fate or don't believe in fate?
I'm saying that I believe that in fate to a point in terms of like God knows where we're going to go, but I do believe that we can affect that fate with our choices.
Interesting.
That's what I believe.
So we do have free will.
For sure.
Enough, but we've got it covered with some sort of plan.
For sure.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a blueprint, right? And you don't know the blueprint until you start realizing, like for me personally, if you would have saw me after I had my surgery, the next day when I'm in my room for my Achilles, when I'm sitting there crying, feeling that I let my mom down and I'm a failure and all these other things, you could not convince me, and I give you weeks to convince me that this was supposed to happen. I'd be like, there's no way, crazy lady, get out of my house. But now when I look back at it, I thank God every single day for that injury. Because if not, I never would have I wouldn't have my family. I would never would have met the people I've met in my life. I'd never be doing what I'm doing right now. So for my life, I just see it. It's so plain for me to see.
And that's a good end of the story, right? I mean, not end.
Yeah.
But
knock on wood. Thank you for that.
But what about the people who are in jail, who've murdered, who've cheated, who've stolen? What do we say to them? Because here's the bodacious segue, is that in your audience are people that really need to hear your message.
Sure.
So 2 questions. Who ideally needs to hear your message?
Mm-hmm.
And 2, what if they're in a bad spot? What if they're seeing this or hearing this on a radio program or a podcast and they're in a state penitentiary?
Yeah.
Like, what's your message to them? Because if it's pre-planned, so to speak, could be a big lesson. They just don't know what it is yet. Obviously bigger than thou shalt not kill or steal or whatever. But what message do we say to them? Because that situation, although your Achilles heel felt awful, literally and physically, but that's a different scenario than the master plan of somebody who's in that lot in life.
Yeah. But see, that's the thing. That's not my message. That's my belief.
Right.
Right?
No, but I love, but let's talk about it.
But so my belief is that there's a blueprint already there and we make the choices. My message is life is mindset. So my message can go to anybody. It doesn't matter if you're in a prison or not.
Right.
It's mindset. If you're doing, I played basketball in a prison when I was 23 years old. A friend of mine bought like this all-star team. He worked at the prison and we played against him. I'll never forget. After one of the games, a guy that was doing double life there said, "Young buck, can I talk to you for a second?" And I sat down and I talked to him and he said, "Don't waste your talent." He said, because it all takes is one misstep to end up where we are. Right?
Yep.
He didn't have to tell me that.
No.
He didn't have to. So we think because people are in different situations or they've done something crazy or something immoral, something whatever, that they're still, at the end of the day, they're not human beings. Right? There are some people that I believe really are evil. And
yes.
And there are some people that they're in that situation and they're still human beings. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? So it's like we're all misstep away. Like
Absolutely.
it takes a while to get the ladder. It takes one slip. And then people will judge you.
One bad choice.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
Which it brings me back to choice.
Yeah. It's all mindset to me.
Right? Choice, mindset.
It's all mindset.
And there's a lot in life. And so I resonate with everything that you're saying. You know, I think that, you know, where you're coming from, where people are coming from in their life, they have to understand that it's choice, it's some predetermination, but it's also what you do with it. And not be an Eeyore. I mean, it's stackable for me.
Sure.
It just keeps stacking.
Yeah.
And I want to help these people feel lighter and get out of their own way.
That's what you just said. The last sentence, get out of their own way. If people cannot resonate to that, they don't know that they're in their way yet.
Good point.
Right? So there's some people that are in their way, firmly in their way. And I have someone like Erin Saxton that comes to me and says, "Listen, it's you. Like, it's not anybody else. I know you're going to point all these fingers, like, I grew up this way, blah, 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 blah. No. It's you now." Because at a certain point in time, it can no longer be blamed on your past.
There's too many common denominators where you're that person.
Yeah. And that's
right?
the situation you have to see. Yeah, for sure. So for me, I can use any, like, statistically, black man, no father, raised by a single mom, 4 other siblings in the inner city where I should be, like, statistically dead, in jail, gang, you know, whatever. I'm out speaking to people about positivity and mindset, right? So I could have easily used my past as a crutch. Now, that's not saying we didn't start the race 5 miles behind, but I didn't stop running,
Right.
Eventually, I'm going to catch you. I don't care how the cards are dealt. I'm going to catch you. I'm going to take this shit hand that you gave me, and I'm going to play it to the best of my ability, and whatever happens, happens. And that's the thing. People get this hand, and it's like, well, man, this hand is crap. And they throw it in, and they stop playing the game. And then who knows where life is going to take them. I got this hand. My mom got this hand when I was 4 years old. That's one of the worst hands you could ever get. But she never stopped playing for our lives. And I always tell my mom, I said, "Mom, what you did in the micro," which her only purpose was making sure that we were raised right, helps me now help people in the macro.
Yeah.
So now I can go all over the planet. So when I talk about purpose, it's not just about saving the world. No, it's about saving your house, right? Just being that person, being that role model for your kids. That can be your whole entire purpose. So one of your kids goes out and discovers the cure for cancer, or goes out and helps people all over the planet, right? So I think that, like, all of it matters. All of it matters, but at the end of the day, it comes down to what you said. It's the choice, it's your mindset, and it's realizing if you're in your own way, and if you do realize that, how to get out of it so you can live the life you want.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
I have so much more to talk to you about, but will you come back so
I'll
we
come
can
back
do an
whenever
interview
you need
number
me.
2?
Whenever you need me.
All right. Cornell, thank you so much for being here. Everyone, thanks for watching That Girl from Jersey. We'll see you soon.